Attention is the black market currency of the 21st century. It's more valuable than oil. It's even more addictive than fentanyl. And most importantly, it's more powerful than nuclear weapons. Tonight will be where we prove this. The people who control attention control reality a lot of times. That's why wars aren't fought on the ground anymore. They're fought on your timeline. That's why companies don't sell you just products anymore. They sell you identities, right? They sell you the identity of being an Apple user, of having the fancy iPad, right? The ecosystem where you can airdrop stuff, the simplicity of all of that. Think about it. Think about different civilizations. Rome had gladiators, the spectacles, the NFL players of the time, right? The Catholic Church had cathedrals, things that represented their attention to the public, something you paid attention to because it was beautiful. MTV had music videos, the things that were trending that you had to pay attention to. Who was going to drop the coolest new hit song with the coolest video? If you guys were a 90s kid, you remember that. TikTok has infinite scroll to continue to cage in your attention to new ideas. Every empire has a weapon of attention. If you don't build yours, you're essentially just going to be trapped by someone else's, whether or not you realize it. I am trapped by Bloom Energy sparkling energy drinks. I think I've used, last time it was the Seabums Energy. I got to stop drinking these because I go off on tangents. I realize more my mind gets more jittery every time. But this episode that we're on today isn't going to be about just posting content, the stuff I help normal entrepreneurs with. It's not just going to be a masterclass. This is going to be about psychological warfare, a true university style lesson, and how you can use attention warfare economically and also ethically to build a tribe of people, whether or not you're a social media influencer or just trying to make more friends. If you're lonely as fuck, like I am, a lot of times that pays you, people that defend you a lot of cases, right? You'll see with celebrities, and most importantly, follows you into the fire, making you into a leader, not just someone who posts videos. Because there's a difference, right? You can feel the brands of people that genuinely attract people. I'm gonna spit like some examples out there. Usually they're more like socially known as like negative brands because people are like, oh, I hate that guy. But typically, actually, I'll argue that hate, it's better to be hated and feared rather than just like nobody cares about you. A lot of times people will say that, but typically it means if people hate your brand, it also means people love your brand. So Andrew Tate, Kanye West, those are like two predominantly hated figures I know that are men in society. Women, I don't want to go too deep on women. I know Alex Earl is a huge influencer. She has a lot of haters. She also has a lot of lovers for her brand. So those people would go deep depths to defend those people through anything, really. So that's what we want to target today. This is the Ascended Podcast. My name is Caleb Schulke. We're not officially sponsored by Bloom Energy. I'd love it if you guys send me like a box of something, though. I'll just hang out, wait for it. But I did mention before, someone today, I walked out to go to Sam's Club to buy groceries, right? And there's this girl that was like crying next to my car in the parking lot. She's like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I was like, what? Because her car was next to mine. I was like, what are you talking about? She was like, I accidentally, I got here and I was like, I was like, just spit it out basically. And she said, well, she had her door open. She was pulled into the parking spot next to me. And as she was pulling out, like her door was still open. She didn't realize she like fully put it into gear. And the car went backwards and her door like scraped and hit my car in two spots. Barely, like I could barely even tell it happened, honestly. And it got the plastic paneling on the bottom, like the detailing panel on the side of the door. That's not even like the main metal door. It's just like the accessory part. And it cracked it in two spots, which is going to be a really easy fix, but it was her first car accident. I should have just went off on her. She's like, oh my God, are you kidding me? Her father, it turns out, he works for the city police department. So I'm sure he probably didn't want to file a police report because A, it would be embarrassing for him. And second, because they'd be like, oh my God, you're his daughter or whatever. But most importantly, though, I think if you report the accident you file an accident report, I think insurance automatically gets notified. So, insurance nowadays, I personally wouldn't want somebody to like ding my insurance, and I hate insurance companies, honestly. So for me, I was like, honestly, F those guys. Let's just like fix this on our own. It should only be a couple $100. So you got to help people out. In my mind, we're all the same person. We're all the same player in multiple different timelines, playing the same game of existence and consciousness through different human lives. So reincarnation is probably a thing too. So if I was you and you were me, I wouldn't want if I were you, I wouldn't want me to be mean to you. Do you understand what I'm saying? So I'm going to live my life in a way that I'm not going to purposely try and do harm to people. If I happen to, And if it conflicts with my movement, which I believe to be just, then I apologize, but I'm going to try to do as much good as I can in this life. And hopefully today was a good example of that, turning that negative into positive for good. I digress though. Again, the energy drinks get to me. Let's talk about attention, because I would say that story right there that I just told captured your attention a little bit. Coming together with details and specific ways of wording and structuring to stand out, right? I told you about an experience just then that was different from what you usually see in life. You don't usually hear about like car accident stories every day, right? You're usually hearing about how was your workout or what did you eat last night? So when I tell you about an accident story, like even if it was just a scrape on a car and I wasn't even there, when you hear the word accident, you're like, oh my God, what happened? Because it's like, it's tea, right? You want to share the tea. And even if it doesn't amount to much, those key words tune you in because you know it's something important in your life that's not commonly heard that you have to pay attention to. Let's talk about attention. And I always get into this scientifically, biologically. I always like to get down to the hard facts of what we know scientifically that isn't biased information that comes from a huge media controlled outlet that has agendas, but truly good for the people information. So here's how this all works. Well, first we have to understand that I'll just say biology in general, is harsh. Animals die. Animals eat each other. Everything in biology is survival of the fittest. It is mean. It is a cruel life to live. And therefore, attention is also predatory. It's not fun. The goal isn't to just pretend it doesn't exist, because then a lot of times you will be manipulated beyond your will. You think that a lot of the choices you make in your life are things you actively choose to do. But think about it, right? The person who sold you an energy drink so you stayed up late last night, when you decided to sleep in, well, it was really just because somebody marketed an energy drink to you, which effed up your sleep schedule. And then you thought you were choosing to sleep in, but you kind of had to anyway because your schedule, your circadian rhythm was all messed up. So if you think about it, how much of your life is actually subtly controlled by the decisions and marketing campaigns of bigger players? That could either be literal through stores with billboards, or it could be a little bit more abstract with your friends telling you, hey, you should come out tonight. All of these things influence the choices we make. And although you say if your friends are jumping off a bridge, you wouldn't, the stats tend to show otherwise. And I'm going to get into that a little bit tonight. So your brain evolved in caves. We know that, right? We've literally seen cave paintings. If you are an anti-caveman, I don't even know what that would be, development, anti-evolution conspiracy theory. If you think we were just like this from the beginning and that we just spawned in the way we are and we didn't come from animals, or we didn't come from like more primitive versions of humans, I think you should probably get off this podcast because your brain might not be like connecting things. I'm open to the input. I'd like to hear your side, maybe just for like entertainment purposes, but I don't think that you can rationally make good decisions. I don't want to shut you out though. If you have a really good argument, go ahead and comment it. But I'd like to say most of us would agree that humans have evolved over time. Whether that just means we've gotten smarter, we've gotten faster, whatever it is. Like you've seen the mile pace in the 1900s get broken multiple times because humans have evolved to get better and better biological speed and things like that. So just from training and improving ourselves with genetics, we're kind of like, if you think about it, humans selectively breed, just like corn, right? You take corn and you make corn bigger, you make corn juicier, you make it plumper over time. I know I sound like a crazy person right now, but humans do the same thing, right? Girls, you're not going to go for the I hate to say this, but girls aren't going to choose the 5'3" guy with a great personality if there's also a 6'3" guy with a great personality, assuming everything else is like the same. Usually girls, most of you, I guarantee 99 out of 100 of you, sure, you might be the one person otherwise, but pretty much all going to go for the guy I'm not even going to say that. But yeah, so the better humans reproduce with better, I'm not going to say better humans, actually. That's kind of the better genetically gifted humans, right? The taller height, I would say height is usually a good trait to have. I'd like to hear the argument otherwise, but I almost say in any case, if an animal is bigger, it has a better chance of survival. And humans are animals. So if a human being is taller, you're probably a better developed human being. Like you probably can athletically beat the shit out of me easier if you are taller. Would you not agree with that statement? I think anybody would agree with that. Sure, you'd be faster if you're shorter, whatever, but I wouldn't want to go in the ring with somebody who's taller than me as opposed to somebody who's shorter most of the time. So I think you can call me whatever, but I think that's probably a true fact. So humans typically choose humans who take care of themselves, have a little bit better genetics. I would actually argue too that like humans aren't going to naturally tend to choose somebody who has like degenerative diseases, right, to reproduce with, because we know what we're getting into. Like, sure, love is love, whatever, but most of the time you're not going to actively choose somebody with a genetic disorder to have kids with, knowing that, because you're probably giving a threat to your future children just to exist. And that's not necessarily fair. I think most people kind of do that math in their head a lot of times. Some people still go for that, but I think most of the time, the stats wise, you argue that there's a trend there. So I'm trying to word this as like politically correct as I can and say, and show you the logic behind it, and not just say that I'm like some, I don't even know what I am. Just some like, I don't know. I have biases, or I'm like some asshole, but I'm just telling you guys the facts of how it is. And then you say, oh my God, he's such an asshole. He's so objective about these things. No, stats are objective. And I'm telling you the stats. That's just the way I logically word my argument. And therefore, if my logic is objective because the stats are objective, I might be an objective person, but fuck you. I'm gonna drink this. This is raspberry lemon. Actually, these are really expensive compared to the other drinks, but supports mood. It says supports mood on here. I think maybe that's why I'm so top of the world right now. But hopefully my mic's doing good. Mic check if anybody can hear me in the comments. God, we only just got through the first like micro point. Okay, I'm gonna speed through the rest of this so we actually get done on time. There's 3 states of captured attention. First is shock, jump scares, outrageous headlines, meme chaos. The people I know that love horror movies love them. Like, you don't find somebody that's like casually into horror movies a lot of times. Most people are just like, I watch this all the time. I watched every horror movie. Because the jump scares, right? The like tension captures attention very well. And those people typically are like adrenaline attention junkies. They just don't know it. Second is awe, shock and awe, right? Awe is like cathedrals, the pyramids, psychedelics, Elon launching rockets into space. The things that are like, oh my God, we actually did that. I can't believe that even happened. And then third is tribal. I would say like tribal belonging. I'm military, right? So uniforms, chants, hashtags, saying, things that make people feel together. Those are all ways to like bring people in and keep them around. I would just argue, and I saw cathedrals as one of my no points, but churches do this really well, right? So you have shock. Shock a lot of times is like, there's evil and there's good and the evil's coming for you, right? That scares you a little bit. Awe is the like impressiveness of like showing the wonders of the world and how like God connects it all. That's typically how churches function. And then third is tribal belonging. So you have routines of going every Sunday, certain hymns you'll sing, a lot of cases, sayings, stories, things like that. Every viral brand hacks at least one of these states. Let's look at this Bloom can, purple. How many energy drinks that you see have a purple can? Not very many, right? I'm actually trying to think of maybe Alani. I think Alani does purple. I don't usually drink Alani because their flavors, they're like cotton candy, like pink slush. Blech. Tastes like that cough medicine that we had as kids that like tasted like bubble gum, but it was probably just poisoning my colon and my kidneys. But that's yeah, shock and awe. So you're like, damn, Bloom? I thought they were like the colon people. I thought they were supposed to clean out my colon the right way. And then all of a sudden they have this awe of like, oh, they actually like, they have a purple can. That's like crazy. I've never seen, somebody fit in mental focus and boosting metabolism and prebiotics, fibers, and all this stuff. That's like impressive. Domenico wants me to show him my inner self, so this isn't pre-recorded, brother. I'm doing this live. Don't worry. I'm doing this actually just for you, Nick. So Nick Domenico, guys, Air Force buddy. He's a very interesting character. We were on the cheer team together back in college. So the old Caleb. If you want to see the old Kanye, the real Kanye, I'll give it to you. Don't worry. This is number 3, history's greatest attention hackers. So I'm gonna shout out names. I bet your ass you know one of these people. First, Russia. Rasputin. That's the first person we're gonna talk about. I think the song goes, he was like a cat because he had like 9 lives and they tried to kill him so many times. They tried to poison him, they tried to drown him, they tried to like shoot him, all that stuff. And Rasputin, that badass motherfucker, he didn't die. He stayed around, he was the man. And there's a song, right? There's like a mythical legend or mystical legend. He turned mysticism essentially into a sexual taboo, into political influence. Like all of these things of like, he's the man that never dies. Like you can't kill him. He's essentially the aura farmer. He's the OG aura farmer. I'm trying to read Nick's comments here because he's just spamming me, but I love you, man. I'm glad you're here. Next, the Barnum and Bailey Circus. If you've ever heard of Barnum and Bailey, they host a lot of circuses around the U.S. I've been to a few of them that were kind of like owned by subsidiary companies of Barnum and Bailey, but it's like the crazy shock and awe factor, right? Come to see the bearded lady. Come to see the 500-pound man. Come to see the man who can spit fire. Like all this stuff that like the man with a 12-inch long nose or something crazy like that, right? And they kind of like shock people, kind of like the Ripley's Believe It or Not thing of like the people that exist and like how crazy of feats they can accomplish. The circus has always been like kind of a known way to do the awe factor. Rasputin was kind of our shock because you just couldn't believe that he couldn't die. And Barnum and Bailey was the awe, right? Things that you just never fathomed would exist. Guy Fawkes. If you guys don't know who Guy Fawkes is, if you've ever seen Anonymous or if you've ever seen V is for Vendetta, it's the white mask with like the slot eyes or whatever, the kind of theater mask, right? He was a failed revolutionary turned into a global anti-establishment meme centuries later. Anonymous is still, the hacker group is still associated with the Guy Fawkes mask. And the cool part is like anybody could be an Anonymous. It's literally anybody could just buy a mask. That's why they chose that outfit, because anybody could be Guy Fawkes. It's just a revolutionary type anti-big organization thing. And then Liquid Death. I actually just had a Liquid Death the other day. It's like a canned water. You guys are used to bottled water and the plastic, microplastic shit that they sell you. But Liquid Death is selling canned water as if it's like satanic beer, right? It's like all these crazy flavors of like piss and gargoyle. I don't know what it's called. It's like, I don't know what the term is, but it's like blood fonts, like coffins of merchandise. They made literally water like heavy metal style. And they've stood out because they had to capture market share and they had to like drive themselves into Aquafina and Dasani and Fiji and Evian and all this stuff. So smart water, I hate smart water because they lie. They actually have so much crap in smart water that's bad for you. They sell, but essentially you don't need the best product. Like Bloom could taste like shit, but the purple can stands out. I would still buy it to try it, which I've never actually had these before, so maybe I did. Because you need the most attention-arresting frame. Dito, I had to read you. I keep looking over to read your comments, man, because I got Instagram up here. But let's talk about how to capture attention in 2025. But first, maybe I should like shotgun this. I'm just gonna take a drink. It's actually punctured. I had to like, you know, the tray in the bottom of the refrigerator. I filled these up with like the 25 Blooms that came in the pack. And I tried to pull it open because it was like full. It was kind of heavy. And then this can was like angled like this at the top. And when I pulled it out, it hit the front and like punctured the top. There's a little hole here and like half the drink spilled onto all the other cans. So they're all like sticky coated right now, which is fucking wonderful. So let me drink this real quick. As it says, supports mood. So maybe it will. It's been a rough day, guys. You're shacking up near Shreveport sometime, not gonna lie. That's pretty sick, man. That's where I've been for a bit. So Liquid Death. I want to talk about them for a second. If you've probably seen them in the gas station, right? It's like a gold can. I actually had I was in Ohio. I hate Ohio. Ohio's the worst. I was in Dayton, Ohio at a gas station and I bought 2 Liquid Death. It wasn't the water, it was like 2 of the lemonades they had. And I put them on the counter at the gas station. The lady's like, "Can I see your ID?" I was like, "For what?" She's like, "Get for the drinks." I was like, "They're lemonades." She's like, so I think I just converted her to a Liquid Death customer. Like that's what they do. I saw the effect of it in real time. They didn't say we're eco-friendly. They said murder your thirst. That's on the can. Red Bull didn't say, you know, we're caffeinated. They said, here's a dude jumping out of space or like triple backflipping a bike off a mountain. Or they did the thing, right, where they like had 2 planes flying and they both jumped out of the planes and then like did the battlefield scene where they like switched planes or whatever it is. Banksy doesn't paint. The famous artist, right? He shreds his own art in front of billionaires. If you guys remember that, this piece of art sold for like a few $1,000,000. And then after it's sold, like you watch the painting go through the bottom of the frame and nobody knew this was going to happen. The bottom of the frame was a shredder. And it shredded it into like tiny, like basically shreds, right? It had like strips of the painting. It disintegrated as soon as it was sold. Nobody knew that was going to happen except Banksy. And Banksy's kind of like not very well known either, which is the crazy part. And then the painting, the scraps of the fucking painting sold for many millions more because the shit blew up. It went on the news. It was everywhere. And all of a sudden this painting that's like literally a pile of fucking sells for millions of dollars because hype, right? NFTs do this all the time. I have my own NFT collection we're launching. The lesson is that absurdity cuts through noise. Is that if you do something that stands out, people are going to give a shit. Why do you think I let my personality show on the podcast? I used to be like, welcome to the Ascended podcast. My name is Caleb. I don't know, sometimes even I don't know how to say my last name. I just make it up. It's different. I think it's Schulke, but like German wise, it's German. So I think it's like Schulke or something. I actually, I won a German proficient. I was awarded a German proficiency badge. Dito, you know what that is? It's at the military and Air Force Academy. they do this German proficiency challenge where they have a German military. It's not for speaking German. I did like this military fitness challenge with the German military. I had to like shoot pistols, ruck like 8 miles, do all this stuff. And I got this like cool looking badge that's like gold. And the German guy pronounced my name Schulke, and I'm pretty sure he knows better than I do how to say the German version of it. So it might be Schulke. Maybe I should just go by my middle name like I used to, Caleb Thomas, and just go like, that's my brand, but it feels fake a little bit. I digress. Your brand must create rituals. It must do shit that's regularly repeated to be awe-inspiring and shocking. You can do both. It can be shock and awe, but pick at least one. So if you're posting a video that's like 4 fitness tips for fitness people, what the fuck are you doing, dude? Like, nobody's gonna watch your dumb fitness video if there's 10,000 more that were probably posted that same day on the same shit, especially if your tips are drink water before going to the gym at least 30 minutes before, and then you'll be hydrated. I don't care. You don't think, you think anybody that's like, God, my throat feels like coarse when I'm working out. Maybe I should drink water. Oh, this guy said this in the video. God, he's such a genius. You think that video is going to get you followers? No, nobody cares. Nobody. I don't care. And I care about a lot. I try to. That's probably a lie too. But I have to say something that's gonna just shock people. Look at Andrew Tate. He says stuff like women belong in the kitchen. Regardless, right? It's a crazy message for what modern society agrees with typically. But so people have to pay attention to that. People have to care whether or not his message is valid or not. They have to care about the fact that it's been said because it challenges the norm. And he knows that. I actually believe that Andrew Tate probably, like, he doesn't actually believe that like women are just objects. Women, if you're watching this, you are probably wrong if you think that he thinks that. Because then if you watch more than just the TikTok clip, please do that. Please actually do your research. In fact, when I go on a date with a woman, I'll ask her a lot of times, what are your thoughts on Andrew Tate? That's a great question, men, to ask women. Because if they just say, I hate him, and if they can't articulate that thought, it means they just watch TikTok videos, they just capture headlines, and they don't read the finer print. And that is someone, my friend, that is scary to be with in life. Could be men or women. But a woman who says, I don't like him because this view typically I don't agree with. I don't like this because, that is somebody you invest in because it shows that they're conscious and can deeper level think, okay? I'm not just saying women are dumb. I'm not just saying men are dumb. I'm saying somebody needs to back their point with facts. And it doesn't have to, they don't have to give you the study from 2017 or whatever that was done. They just have to be able to express why. If that question, that why doesn't exist, then their opinion, honestly, I don't really care. Because you don't tell me like how it shapes around your worldview or how your worldview shapes it or vice versa, either way. And so the enemy doesn't have to be real, right? It doesn't have to be like, that's another point. Like it doesn't have to be something that like is coming for the tribe. It just has to be something that challenges reality and gets people to think. Because again, the point with Andrew Tate is a lot of the times he'll go back right after. He says, women belong in the kitchen. And he says, and then he'll say, what's off the TikTok clip when the clip ends? What he actually says afterwards is like, and men belong hunting in the woods. He's like, and that's kind of a crazy example, right? But what I actually mean is that if a man is going out there and providing and he's working his ass off and making $300,000 a year, his woman could have the option of just doing that and being in the kitchen if they wanted to, or they could also get a job. I'm not forcing them, but a lot of times I want to create a life where they can be in the kitchen and not have to do anything else. And they can just cover something simple like that and we can have a great relationship. If you listen to anything he says or the time he spends with his kids, that's typically what he means. But he gets marketing, guys. He gets people pissed off because he knows that you'll pay attention then to what he says. So a lot of times, unfortunately, the only thing that goes viral is just the clip. You don't get the full story. So you only hear that and you think he's a misogynist. So if you hear clips of me saying that like women, you probably actually, where I just said women belong in the kitchen, you'll probably, that sentence right there, that'll probably be the clip that goes viral. And then you guys never heard this argument, for instance, of me talking about how this is an example of what Andrew Tate says. And so always know the context, always, always, always. But that's actually a good thing, right? There's no such thing really as bad publicity unless honestly you're like Jeffrey Epstein, but for the most part, you just want to be able to, you want to get your name out there. And if you're doing, like Red Bull is really great at that. They sponsor Formula One too. Shout out to Max Verstappen. But yeah, they just do bold shit that makes you pay attention. And they're like, oh, Red Bull's associated with energy and excitement. I want to get the same excitement out of life. So I'm going to buy their energy drink. Even though I'm talking about it, but I'm holding a balloon. I wonder if this like helps my digestion, dude. I'd assume so. Boost metabolism, apple cider vinegar. Yeah, we're good. The visual symbols are the nuclear weapons. So Nazi Germany, crazy example to start with. This is in my notes. And I have to start there because it's kind of the most bold example about the most. We talked about cults last time. We're talking about negative stuff, but typically negative stuff is negative, and it's the example because it's so strong. The Nazis were people that genuinely died for a cause they believe nothing else mattered except that cause. That was the probably most followed leader, one of the most followed leaders in history. I hopefully just giving it attention isn't like, I'm not necessarily condoning that, right? I'm not telling you that you should be a Nazi. Don't take that out of context, but they were paid attention to because they had a very strong, you would recognize a swastika anywhere, right? And it's now associated with negativity. Christianity had the cross. Apple had the bitten fruit, right? The apple that had the bite out of it. That's your Apple logo. Some people have a conspiracy that's like, well, that was the moment that doomed humanity forever. So is Apple an evil company because the Apple logo is the bite mark that doomed humanity? Actually, seems a little, they have a lot of power. Anonymous had the Guy Fawkes mask. Altura, my NFT collection, has black chrome carbon fiber elite level luxury like you see behind me and around me, the futuristic knight armor. Humans don't follow logic. We always follow emotion. Think of a crowd at a rock concert, right? Think about a Travis Scott concert versus a Lana Del Rey concert. Two different types of energies. And that's what people connect with very easily. So now we need to flip the script. To have attention, and if you do those things right, most importantly, what do you do with it? Step one is to anchor the belief. We need to drop a viral core truth. The Matrix, it's real. You're living in a simulated code-written version of reality. Traditional education is broken. John D. Rockefeller established the General Education Board. He was there to doom your humanity forever. That could be a truth, right? Amelia Earhart disappeared and started the New World Order, and she's coming for all of you. And she is a cybernetic organism coming to destroy humanity. I don't know. That's a belief, right? You could say that exists and that unites your cause. Probably not one that most people would agree with, but usually they all start with some sort of like core truth that can be believed. Most of us can believe that humanity's and existence is too accurate, is too gamified, right? To not be a Matrix simulation. And we've seen the movie too, which helps prove the point of it. So the Matrix movie is a great point because then you can take a belief and you can make media around it. You can put out content, live streams like I'm doing here to push a central point. You guys probably wonder what my central point is. My central point, look at the Altura project. That's exactly what my point is. Look at Ascend. I have a whole ascensionism dieting policy that talks about my belief system. And attention is the only real currency. Repeat that until it imprints like religion. You don't need to be set up as a 501c3 religious organization. You just need to repeat the same process. I was trying to say processes and practices, and I said praxis. Practices that religions do that convert people so well. Once you've done that, once you've anchored that core belief and you've written it down on a piece of paper, step two is to scale the identity. I want you to give your followers a name, as cringy as it sounds. The Mavericks, Logan Paul. The Hustlers, Andrew Tate. The Ascenders. That's not mine, but it could be mine. I'm still working on the name, guys. Make them wear a uniform. That could be literal, so it could be like merchandise. That's why merch sales, even though if they don't net you a lot of money, it's still important because it gets your brand out there. Or it could be digital. Your profile, your bio line, your emoji, having like Gymshark athlete in your Instagram bio to show the brand and your connection to it, your belief in that brand. Having a NFT, which is why we're putting out the NFTs. I want you guys to rep your NFT as a profile picture to show how you're connected to this vision of life and also grow our movement. Step three is to amplify with ritual and pain. You can't forget about pain because it's even more driving than positive ritual. Initiations, hazing, I would argue. I don't want to get too political here because I can't, because I'm still in the UCMJ restrictions. Thank you, military. But the Air Force used to be big on hazing. You've seen the Major Payne movie where they kind of haze people. Hazing, I would argue, actually does have a lot of good benefit. And there's certain ways you should do hazing. There's certain ways you shouldn't do hazing. I think we could all agree. You shouldn't be purposely just beating the shit out of people, right? But hazing or initiation routines or traditions like that are genuinely and generally good ways to bring people into a movement, to get people to feel like they belong because they went through something that other people have went through. Basic training is kind of the biggest example I can think of with the military. We've all done it. We've all been tear gassed. I've been tased. You've experienced the same pain as other people, and that makes you feel like you belong. It brings us together because it's a shared experience. Bring a shared experience, especially one that's a little bit painful. For example, Fraternity's haze. It's painful. You stay up late, you drink, you do whatever you got to do. CrossFit has workouts of the day. Did you do the hard ass workout to be part of the group? NFTs, my project has like whitelist grinding. There's daily challenges to get XP of like shouting the project out on Twitter or like putting messages in the Discord. And you actually, guys, you get free money sent to you if you participate in our challenges. And if you bleed for it, although you're getting rewarded, it makes you believe in it a little more. It proves that what you're doing subconsciously has a greater purpose. So maybe I'm manipulating the shit out of all of you, but I also am doing the same stuff. So I might be manipulating myself too. But if you're manipulating yourself toward a good cause, is it manipulation? It could be, but not all manipulation then is bad if that's the truth. That's what we want to do. Rituals, pain, good or bad, just to get people to do the same stuff. Step 4 is to convert that to power. Monetization is the final form of this. It's where power is literally transferred because you're giving value, you're giving your labor to someone else. You're dedicating yourself to a cause that someone else started, believes in, whatever it can be. Liquid Death sells waters for $3 a can because they're disruptive. That's why. They turn their water into an identity. You're the rebel. You're the guy that's drinking the badass water. You are a badass because you associate yourself with a drink that isn't some watered down Dasani. Kanye sells a hoodie for $300 because it signals tribe, luxury, that you don't give a shit about culture, that freedom of speech matters to you. That's the stuff he stands for now. He gets a bad rep, but he has genuine points. The Ascend my ecosystem and the sub movement, which is the project, the inner circle here of the Altura movement, Ascend captures professional attention. It brings entrepreneurs, businesses, systems in to focus on AI growth and development. And Altura, our inner circle and NFT collection, captures cultural attention. It's the product. I'm Kanye, and Altura is the Yeezy collection. It's the futuristic lore. It's talking about where the world's gonna be. It makes you feel like you have a greater purpose. The NFT tribe, together, right? Funding projects. I'm gonna give money to you guys to help you with your businesses. I'm gonna fly you guys out to private meetups. We're gonna work together to beat the fucking corporations' asses. And together, we're a religion for the new digital elite, fighting the system of surveillance and, I don't know, like, taking a boot off of your neck. So here's my kind of final warning and call for you guys. The war for attention is the war for reality in a lot of cases. It used to be money. It used to be gold way back in the day. It used to be crusades, right, for Jerusalem, whatever it is. It's kind of still going on today even, it seems like. You're either hypnotized or you're hypnotizing other people. You're either a consumer of memes or you're the one seeding them. You're the one starting the movement. You're the guy that bought remember the Yeezy, or not the Yeezy, the Reebok Ziggs, the like shoes with the colored like zigzag back and forth. All my friends in like second grade had all of those, and that was like the cool thing. But what I realized was cool is we wanted to be like the guy, Seth, shout out Seth, that bought the first pair because his were sick and we all wanted to be cool like Seth. And we just bought the shoes thinking we'd be Seth, but we weren't Seth. Seth, you're fucking awesome, dude. So you're either hypnotized or you become a hypnotizer. And that can be good or bad. It's always associated as being negative, but I'm not going to sit here and say that. That's why we're building Ascend. That's why we're building this movement, this purpose. Ascend is the purpose. It's also a free community for you guys to join from this live stream and podcast or short form clip, whatever you're watching here. And Altura is the place inside Ascend where you can say, I want to be part of the elite group that's actually getting shit done. I believe in the movement of Ascend. Altura is the way to get yourself in a vehicle to make that happen and invest in something that will go up in value, which is the NFT. That's why we launched Altura, not as just a project, or as an app, but as a weapon of attention. They stand out. The message is we live in a futuristic society where corporate control has taken over. The surveillance state is here, and we need to do something. We need to partner back up as humans and work together to make our impact known. And we need to take the control away from the big institutions, crowdfund our own ideas, and be independent, sovereign people that can kick ass in the digital age. Digital nomads. If you're tired of scrolling, if you're tired of consuming or being farmed for data, for attention, for energy, then join us. It's free. Attention isn't optional. It is truly now survival. I want you guys to think about everything I just said here. Maybe just take 2 or 3 minutes after you get off this stream or this video and just sit in silence and just let the first couple things that I said here about attention, or let me go back through it real quick. Attention or absurdity or shock and awe, the examples of Rasputin or Barnum and Bailey or mechanics of attention, let that all just sink in and pick the first couple things and just kind of think about them for a second. Because when you process that thought, when you actually allow that to seep into your conscious thought instead of just subconsciously floating by, you can realize how you can take action on it. And hopefully that first action is joining our free group, maybe getting involved in the Altura project where you can win some free NFTs worth thousands or tens of thousands of dollars and just become one of us. We want you here. We believe in you. This isn't some crazy Scientology movement. We're actually here to be real about the way the world works. And I care about you guys. As I famously say at the end of each episode, and as I want to close out with today, I'm rooting for you. I truly am. I wish you the best. I hope this weekend's going great for you. I'll get my car fixed. I promise. I'm going to finish this energy drink too and get this uploaded. But I love you guys. Thank you for everything you've done to get us here. And I'm excited for the next chapter of Ascend, Altura, my channel. And we're going to be here to motivate you as soon as you hop in our free community with your own stuff. Take care.